Hey everyone, I'm Ziglet and I'm going to show you how to sync Hogwarts Legacy progress across two or more computers. At first, I'll just point out some risks. Uh, if you do this wrong, you risk losing your current progress, so you need to back up your data before we start doing any of this. I have that on step 4 down here, so we'll cover that as we go through these steps. You do not ever want to have two or more computers running Hogwarts Legacy at the same time. Otherwise, that can cause conflicts in OneDrive, which again will put you at risk to lose your data. And the third one, you need to generally be cautious and make sure anytime before you open the game that OneDrive has finished syncing the data from your prior session if you're going on a different computer. For example, if you're on computer 1 and you close the game, shut down, and go to computer 2 and start up the game right away, if that syncing isn't done yet from OneDrive because you just shut off your computer 1, then that can end up causing conflicts because now you've opened up Hogwarts Legacy, but then the syncing files are trying to come in afterwards, and that could cause issues and conflicts. So you want to avoid that. You just generally want to be aware that when you're ending a session on one computer and starting a session on the other, that you checked that the syncing is completed. So now all those disclaimers are done, let's get to it. So on computer 1, this would be the first computer that you start playing on, that you have some save progress on, and we'll start setting up from that one. So the first step, you want to play Hogwarts Legacy a little bit so that a saved profile gets created and the initial configuration gets set. I already did that, so we'll move on. For step 2, you'll want to save where you are in Hogwarts Legacy and exit the game. Again, already did that, we can move on. Number 3, you'll go to this path right here, which is where the saved data gets stored for Hogwarts Legacy. So you can just copy and paste this. You can do the Windows R key on your keyboard, and you can paste it in here and click OK, and that'll pop up a window with the data. For purposes of this demo, we're going to say that this window right here is this path. So just pretend I clicked OK and this window up here came up. So now we're done with step 3. Now for step 4, what you want to do is before we start doing any changes, you want to back up all the data in this folder so that if something goes wrong, we can just move all of these files and folders back to this location so you can start from scratch again. You don't want to lose your progress. So I already did that. I removed these. You can just create a folder on your desktop or something and just throw them out there just to have in case. So now move on to step 5. You'll want to move the config and the save game folders to a location in your OneDrive. So down here is my OneDrive folder location. So I have under OneDrive, I just created a folder named test, and we're going to put the folders in there. So following the steps, I'm going to take these, move them right here. All right, now you want to open up command prompt in admin mode. So if you just go to your start button and search for CMD, you can right click on command prompt and click run as administrator and click yes to any prompts or logins, and then you get your command prompt up here. So it says administrator command prompt. So now we have that up and running. So for step 7, you'll want to run the following commands with the correct file paths inserted. You will need to replace the red text with your file path specific to your setup. So what we can do here to make this a little easy is open up Notepad. And then we're just going to put these paths in here. And you'll see the first command is for the Save Games folder. The second command is for the config folder. They're both the same command, mklink/d. However, just have it copy and pasted here twice for your convenience. So what you want to do is just replace the red text or the quoted sections with your file paths. So The first one is the original folder path to the Save Games folder you moved into OneDrive. So that was this one up here. This is the original one. So you can put that in here. And then the folder name was Save Games, so we can add that in there. Save Games. Again, we're making the file path to be what was here before, and that was these two folders. And now you have the current folder path to the Save Games folder in OneDrive. So we'll take that out, and then you can shift right click on the Save Games one and do copy as path. And then you can actually, that'll include the quotations. So you can replace those and put that. So this is before, this is after. So now let's do the same thing with the config folder. It's going to be the same path, but instead it's going to be a config folder. And then we can do the same thing for this one, shift right click, copy as path, and then replace the second path with the new location. So now we have our two commands. So now you can just run each of these one by one in command prompt. And what you'll see is a little folder link will get created up here. And what that does is it essentially just links to the folders down here. So let's do it and I can show you. So I'm going to paste that in here, click enter. So you can see Save Games appears, and it has this little arrow on it. That's how you know it's a linked folder. So if I open up this, it's just going to open up the location down here. So let's try that. So 135556304, you can see all these files. So if I do the same thing over here, Save Games, it has the same folder. We're just looking at the same files here, essentially. This is just showing the files from your OneDrive location. So we know it worked. And now we'll do the same thing with the config folder. Done. The config folder link is created, and that's linking to this one down here. You can test it, make sure it works correctly. All right, so now what this means is we're on step 8. That will link the local folders to use the folders on OneDrive, as I was just displaying and mentioning. So now technically you're already set up on computer 1. Your files are already just referencing your OneDrive files. So now, once you're all set and done with this, you go on to computer number 2. So going through the steps on computer number 2, you want to open the game at least once so that the initial configuration gets set. You don't want to do anything worth saving though, because with the steps we're taking, we're just going to delete that progress. So just enough to get into the game, start it up, everything will get initialized, and then you can close out right away. Step 2, you'll want to go to the local app data, the Hogwarts Legacy location, onto computer number 2, similar to what we did on computer number 1. It was the same location as up here, the local app data, but now you're just doing it on computer number 2. So let's actually set that up so we can show that as an example. All right, so now let's say this is my computer 2 folder structure up here. You know, I ran this command, you know, I selected this, I did the Windows R, and I clicked in here and clicked OK, and it brought up this folder. So now what you'll do is you'll delete the config and the save games folders. And then we're going to open up command prompt in admin mode. As I mentioned, you just click the start button on your desktop, search for CMD, right click on it, and then click open as administrator. So now we have administrator command prompt opened up. And same as before on computer number 1, we have to run these commands, but now on computer number 2. Your file paths, however, may be a little bit different because now you're on a different computer. Your user might be changed. Maybe you installed the game in a different location. Either way, you just want to make sure you have the correct path, so don't reuse the same paths that you had from computer number 1. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy these, paste it in here, and we're going to put in the original folder path to the save games folder. That was save games. And then the current folder path to the save games folder in OneDrive. So this is my same OneDrive location down here that we did under computer number 1. I'm just going to right click, copy as path, put that there. And then now we're just going to do the same thing for the config folder. So the original path that you deleted the config folder from, and then the current path in OneDrive. Alright, so now you have both those commands created. So now we'll just run those commands in command prompt, and you'll see those links get created. So there's one link, and there's two link. So now what you can see is, this is my computer number 2 location. This is my computer number 1 location. They both are linking to the same OneDrive location. So if I click in config, we get the same exact things in here. So now they're both referencing OneDrive. So now if I'm on computer number 1 and I play the game and then close the game, my progress will get saved here, which then gets saved to OneDrive. And then when I'm on computer number 2 and OneDrive syncs all the files, I open up computer number 2 Hogwarts Legacy. It goes into these save game files, which is linked to OneDrive, and pulls the data from there, and then you open up your latest progress on computer number 2. So that's it. So if any part during this process you messed up, you need to restart, just on your local app data section, just delete all these files, folders, and then just go into your backup and then just put all your backup folders in there and files, and then you can start from scratch again. So, and just keep in mind the risks that I laid out in the beginning of this. You just really need to make sure that before you open up the game on each computer, that OneDrive has finished syncing all of your updates from your prior session on your other computer. Otherwise, again, if you open up Hogwarts Legacy too fast and it's done syncing the files, you risk OneDrive having file conflicts, and then it can end up messing up your data and create a big headache for you. And you don't want to lose all your progress, especially as you get 40, 50 hours into that. That is not something you want to do. So use this at your own risk. Subscribe for other tips. Like this video, comment, let me know if you have any questions, concerns, and I'll help out where I can. I'll also put the link to this in the video description. Thanks all.